All right. Next up, let's talk about what the heck's going on again with Children of Blood and Bone. So this is a major film that is coming out this January, and it is based on the very popular fantasy series written by Tomi Adeyemi, who's a Nigerian American author. And there has been a lot of drama. And TLDR is essentially Tomi Adeyemi, who really struck literary gold when she came onto the scene and had written Children of Blood and Bone, and then received a very rare, lucrative deal that they don't just give those out. And then there was a massive bidding war over the rights to Children of Blood and Bone. She ended up with a lot of creative control on the film adaptation, which is directed by Gina Prince Blythewood, who did Woman King, and had a lot of control over the casting. So Tomi Adeyemi's got quite a history, and we covered that in a different stream. But what happened was she posted a video that was essentially going, I do not fuck with this film adaptation. Don't ask me any more questions. She posted some strange text messages between her and Amanda Stenberg where she's like, don't ever use my name again. And clearly something or some things happened. And now there seems to be a bit of a clearer picture, though it does not make it any less messy. And it has to do with Amanda Stenberg's casting, which Tomi Adeyemi had supported. So that's why this looks really bad. So first I'm going to show this teaser for the film.
I wanted to create a world that we can be inspired by. We do this together. That's definitely the vibe that I've been feeling from everybody. We just want to do it with love and respect and passion.
I'm super excited being part of something as big as this.
Being able to film in South Africa is so incredible.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a shame because it has it is a story set in a world, in a culture, with a cast that is rarely given space in Hollywood. And just how Tomi is trying to now torpedo this project because of things that happened that have made her feel very upset. Hi, how was the podcast? Hi. Good. Yeah, it's a super stacked cast, and I think I think it should be pretty awesome. I haven't read the book, but I'm hoping that the film is great. And again, it just is really. It's really unfortunate that this is all happening. And I think Tomi herself had described Children of Blood and Bone as Black Panther, but with magic. And seeing like what a huge deal Black Panther was, and that there is a possibility for this film to be really big, and is a film that is a Black story with an all Black cast. And it just sucks to see the author of the series like continuing to put out these vague posts that are dragging the film, but then deleting them as well.
At this beautiful pink river.
We have a really amazing crew here to bring this vision to life.
And we really wanted it to feel visceral for the audience.
It's really an honor to design an African fantasy at this level.
Sometimes they call me the black hair whisperer. In this film, it is such a hair world. And so I did not want to leave any texture untapped.
I wanted the whole diaspora to be able to be a part of this.
We took some inspiration from traditional Yoruba body painting.
Everybody, so when you hear the music, don't stand, okay?
I'm really thankful to Gina. This is such an incredible film and an incredible cast.
It's just gonna be so big and beautiful.
Here we go. A lot of energy. Don't be afraid to make noise.
It's incredible.
Okay. Okay, so that is the film, and now this piece came out in Vanity Fair by Rebecca Ford. A hit author's film adaptation went horribly wrong. What happened on the set of Children of Blood and Bone? Tomi Adeyemi's film deal was an author's dream, so how did the adaptation of her best-selling novel turn into what she calls the worst thing I have ever had to live through? Oh boy. Okay, let me read through this. In the spring of 2017, a 23-year-old with a Harvard diploma and not a single published work to her name found herself at the center of a Hollywood bidding war. It was the sort of thing that novelists and screenwriters spend a lifetime dreaming of. By day, Tomi Adeyemi was a data analyst in San Diego. By night, she had spent 18 months working on a manuscript for an epic West African-inspired fantasy novel about a young woman fighting to restore magic to her homeland that would eventually be titled Children of Blood and Bone. When she sent out the manuscript, word spread fast. Everyone wanted to sign her, one former manager told Vanity Fair. This person met Adeyemi at this time but didn't sign her. In meet and greets, agents fawned over the unpublished work. Adeyemi told people that she wanted to be the next Shonda Rhimes. Eventually, she signed with an agency, ICM, where Rhimes was a client before the agency was acquired by CAA, that shopped her book to publishers and film studios simultaneously. It was a bidding war unlike anything I had ever experienced, Tiffany Lau, the book's eventual editor, told Refinery29 in 2018. Adeyemi emerged with a 7-figure deal with Henry Holt Books for Young Readers and a deal to adapt the book with Fox 2000 and Temple Hill, the producers behind YA hits like Twilight and The Maze Runner. Pretty big deal. It was one of the largest deals for a young adult debut novel in publishing history. We paid an incredible advance for an incredible book, Liao said at the time. If the deal-making momentum was dizzying, the eventual movie adaptation development was anything but. There were starts and stops as the project got lost in the shuffle of a major studio merger before finding a new home at Paramount and a new director, Gina Prince Blythewood. It was very important to me that if someone wanted to make it, it was the right people, said Adeyemi in a 2018 interview. There's nothing I hate more than a bad film adaptation. When it finally went into production in 2025, helmed by seasoned director Prince Blythewood and featuring a star-studded cast that includes Viola Davis, Idris Elba, and Regina King, what a cast. It looked like Children of Blood and Bone was finally getting its Hollywood moment. A movie centered on a culture so rarely given space and screen time in Hollywood would be a major win for representation in the industry. It's hard enough to get a big-budget fantasy film made in Hollywood and almost unprecedented for such a movie to be a Black story featuring an all-Black cast. When shopping around the book, Adeyemi described its world as Black Panther with magic. The adaptation shimmered with the promise of being just as culturally significant, potentially spawning a franchise of its own. But this summer, just months away from the film's release, there was a twist as dramatic as anything in a YA novel. After years of speaking fondly of the adaptation, Adeyemi posted 2 scorched earth videos in which she completely disavowed the movie. Outboundary, thank you for the 5 gifteds. Gary, thank you for the 48 months. Cerebral Parkour, thank you for the 6 months. Everything that's been occurring has been occurring behind the scenes since I was 24 years old, she wrote in one. Young, gifted child plus Hollywood plus massive capital interests equals tragedy always. How did an aspiring author's dream, the cross-medium creative control anyone in Hollywood fantasizes about, the A-list cast, the deal, turn into what she describes as the worst thing I've ever had to live through? According to sources close to the film and people close to Adeyemi who spoke with Vanity Fair, the answer may trace back to a controversial casting and tension on set. Children of Blood and Bone hit shelves in 2018, debuting at #1 on the New York Times Young Adult Bestseller list. Adeyemi earned a slew of awards and became, as one headline put it, a literary rock star. The second and third books in her Legacy of Orisha series came out in 2019 and 2024, but the movie adaptation was nowhere to be seen. David Magee, who had adapted Life of Pi and Mary Poppins Returns, had been hired to write the screenplay in 2019. Rick Famuyiwa, who helmed Dope, was brought on to direct. But the adaptation lost its home when Fox 2000 was shut down after Disney acquired Fox. Disney's Lucasfilm expressed interest in taking over the adaptation, but the project stalled as the studio chose to focus instead on Star Wars and other homegrown franchises. At the time, there was a report that Adeyemi was feeling frustrated with the film's slow progress. Disney officially let the project go in 2022. Paramount then acquired the rights in a new deal that would include much more involvement from Adeyemi. According to the new terms, she would write the screenplay herself and serve as an executive producer. The deal, which is truly unheard of. Like, that is unbelievable creative control that people who have even more experience can only dream of. The deal also included a guaranteed theatrical release. After Prince Blythewood, director of The Woman King and Love and Basketball, boarded the project, she and Adeyemi started working on the screenplay. What Gina does so well is tell these deep, complex stories of women who look like us, front and center, with incredible action, set pieces, incredible cinematography, Adeyemi said in a 2024 interview. It feels divine. It feels bigger than just making this project. We are really in sync. She also had strong relationships with the producers, who were the same team that had been with her in the original deal in 2018. For a debut author, it's pretty much impossible. This is like dream scenario, y'all. Just like, please understand, this is as good as it gets. One of the film's producers, Karen Rosenfeld, nabbed Adeyemi a cameo in The Devil Wears Prada 2, in which the author appears as a guest at Miranda Priestley's swanky Hampton soiree, alongside other notables such as Nick Starr, Carl Anthony Towns, and former Vanity Fair editor Tina Brown. Cynthia Erivo, Chiwetel Ejiofor, King, Elba, and Davis all joined the cast, as did a trio of exciting young stars. The Woman King's Tuso Mbedu leads Blood and Bone as the film's protagonist and hero, Zaylee. F1's Damson Idris plays her love interest, Prince Enon, while Amandla Stenberg plays Zaylee's ally, Princess Amari. Stenberg's casting immediately sparked fervent online discourse. The actor, who is biracial, is lighter skinned than some fans envisioned the character. In early February 2025, just before shooting began, Stenberg posted a video defending her casting and speaking about the idea that she steals roles that could go to darker-skinned women. I would never go after a role that I didn't feel like was right for me to chase. While acknowledging the complicated problem of colorism, she also brought up Adeyemi specifically, revealing that they had met for dinner. There, said Stenberg, Adeyemi had told her that Stenberg's performance as Rue in The Hunger Games partially inspired her to write her book series. Tomi is our executive producer and writer now, and I know that's what she wants to see, the actor posted. She wants to see a world on screen that is vibrant with different skin tones and different shades. And yes, Tomi Adeyemi, look, there is obviously the legitimate discourse around colorism. And we spent a stream where we talked about that. And I did my best as somebody who, that is not my lived experience, but I understand that this is a very real, it's a very real thing. And it is deserving of conversation. But Tomi had always supported Amandla Stenberg's casting. And in fact, when she had listed off actresses who she had was excited envisioning for the casting, she also named Zendaya and Tessa Thompson, two other biracial light-skinned actresses. So the reason I mention this is because this whole thing falls apart given that Tomi Adeyemi has from the get-go envisioned light-skinned actresses in Children of Blood and Bone, the series that she wrote, and also supported Amandla Stenberg. Okay. Adeyemi didn't respond publicly to Stenberg's post at the time, but some sources believe this is when the tension between the author and the team behind the adaptation was first sparked. Though insiders say Adeyemi had been involved in the casting process and had been supportive and excited by Stenberg's casting from the get-go, their relationship became strained after Stenberg's video. Adeyemi would later share on TikTok a screen grab from a February 2025 text chain with Stenberg in which the author speaks harshly to the star. Do not ever use my name in an interview or video again. Do not text me. Do not call me. So it seems as if there was a switch up here because fans were criticizing the casting of Amandla Stenberg. And it seems that Tomi Adeyemi freaked out, did not want to be associated, even though she is an executive producer. This is her series, and she had advocated for Amandla Stenberg, as well as mentioned how excited she would be to have even lighter skinned actresses than Amandla Stenberg as a part of the project. So this seems to be Tomi Adeyemi throwing Amandla Stenberg under the bus. And this is a separate issue from the issue of colorism and how fans felt about the casting of Amandla. Tomi was trying to save face and decided to throw Amandla under the bus. Yeah. And this is really cruel. Do not ever use my name in an interview or video again. Do not text me. Do not call me. When it comes to power on the set of Children of Blood and Bone, Tomi Adeyemi has significantly more power than Amandla Stenberg, just to make that clear. Adeyemi arrived on set 2 days after Stenberg's social media post, according to a source with ties to the movie. She filmed a cameo in which she plays a character present during a training sequence with Mama Agba, who's played by Davis, who is mentoring Zaylee, who's played by Mbedu. But the tension between the author and actor became palpable on set, the sources say, and difficult to navigate. After she returned from filming, Adeyemi continued to speak positively about Stenberg and the project in public. While appearing on an episode of the Quiet Conversations podcast in June 2025, Adeyemi said of Stenberg's casting, "If you feel brokenhearted by this, I don't think you'll feel that way when you're sitting in the theaters. I promise you this world is beautiful and we're all in it." But almost a year later in May 2026, she happily posted on social media on the day the WGA arbitration determined that she and Prince Blythewood would share co-writing credit on Children of Blood and Bone. "Your favorite writer is now an officially accredited screenwriter, and I feel the culmination of a childhood dream being sailed off to a new sea," she wrote. On Hollywood production, screenwriting credits aren't bestowed by the team making the movie. Instead, they're decided by the WGA through an arbitration process in which a committee of anonymous WGA members reads all the drafts of a screenplay, then determines who they believe deserves on-screen credit. That credit isn't just a point of pride, it also usually correlates to a larger contractual bonus and residuals. One source points out that it's very difficult for a director to get a screenwriting credit on a feature film unless it's very evident that the director did significant work on the script. The relationship management that Gina has done, Gina's a saint basically, says one individual involved with the film. That's who I feel worst for in all of this, Gina, because she's done so much. So the reason they're including this is they're saying the fact that Gina Prince Blythewood got a co-writing credit for the film means she did a shit ton of the work here. It is difficult per the WGA process for a director to get a screenwriting credit. Despite the outward positivity, Adeyemi had privately told those involved with the film that she would be distancing herself from the adaptation, according to the source with ties to the movie. Things didn't spill into public view until July 4th of this year when Adeyemi posted a TikTok responding to a fan who had asked why she wasn't talking more about the movie. It included the screen grab of her text with Stenberg, along with screen grabs of her speaking to other fans, which she calls Tominators, about the topic. I have not seen the film and I will not watch it, Adeyemi wrote. It's been painful holding this back from you all. In one screen grab, she tells a fan that she doesn't mind if they still go to the movie when it comes out in January. I wrote this for us. I fought for us. I'm just laying down my sword and officially separating my name because I can't keep being hurt and attacked behind the scenes. Reps for Paramount, Temple Hill, Stenberg, and Adeyemi declined to comment to VF. Oof, messy. Why are you bearing your own movie? Why? It's so transparent how much she cares about fame. Yes, I think that's pretty obvious. And I also think that she has this pattern of putting out something messy and stirring up her fans and then deleting it. But by that point, it's too late. They coerced my boy into a confession, give him a fucking Valium. Are you referring to Luigi? I'm assuming. Unauthored expressing disappointment with the film or TV adaptation of their work is a tale as old as time. Stephen King famously spoke out against Kubrick's now classic take on The Shining, describing it as a big, beautiful Cadillac with no engine inside it. Truman Capote remained steadfast in his criticism of Breakfast at Tiffany's. He'd always envisioned Marilyn Monroe as the lead and hated that Paramount had cast Audrey Hepburn. Writer Rick Riordan tweeted his blunt thoughts about the 2010 adaptation of Percy Jackson and The Lightning Thief. It's my life's work going through a meat grinder when I pleaded with them not to do it. Any author might find it difficult to see a world they created on the page changed for the screen. But insiders who work in the book to film space tells VF that most authors, especially first-time authors, do not get deals with as much creative control as Adeyemi got. That is a big difference here. What Tommy had on the set of Children of Blood and Bone is literally winning the lottery. She had it so fucking made, that I am sure people within the industry who were aware of this, whether they were directly involved or knew of this, are like, what the fuck is she doing? Oh my God. Why? Is Tommy okay? I don't think so. I don't want to ever armchair psychologize, but I think we could all benefit from therapy. But based on everything I have heard and read and have assessed here, I think she would greatly benefit from some therapeutic work. I do. Because Adeyemi was deeply involved and had the opportunity for input, these sources find her decision to make public statements before the movie's release especially shocking. While the first video was surprising to most fans, the second, which she posted July 29th, one day after the first trailer for Children of Blood and Bone debuted, was startling. In an intense 5-minute video, Adeyemi takes long pauses as she speaks to the camera. She says that after she returned from the film set, she suffered such severe somatic pain and so many panic attacks, and I knew it was so bad that I would never, ever be able to watch this film, and I made peace with that. But as it's being marketed and as I'm still being antagonized behind the scenes, which is where I hoped all of this would stay, that reality needs to at least be made known so that you guys can understand how this film, which I worked on to make it a little better for us to be alive, is also the worst thing I've ever had to live through. The video is odd. It is. Sources note that Adeyemi had switched agencies multiple times since her initial deal with ICM, first moving to WMA, then to CAA. She also has parted ways with her most recent manager at United Untitled Entertainment. There must be something going on because she has burned every bridge, says an insider who works in the book to film space. Eventually, Adeyemi took down both posts, but the damage was done, sending a chill through both the YA community and Hollywood on the franchise's prospects. And the other thing is she has a pattern of behavior where she will post something, she will get her fans all stirred up, and then she'll delete. She did this when she attacked Nora Roberts, who is practically synonymous with the romance genre. She is like OG fucking OG. And Tommy Adeyemi accused Nora Roberts of plagiarism. And it was so unfounded and so absurd. And Nora was very gracious about the entire thing. but pointed out the fact that like Tommy operated in this way where she did not even give Nora the respect of being a peer in the space and immediately posted this crap on Twitter. Nora is not a person who's online. Okay. She's been writing and publishing works longer than Tomi Adeyemi has been alive. Nora Roberts is the fucking Nora Roberts. And Nora was like, this is not how you handle, like, what is this? This is not how you go about things. And then Tomi eventually kind of apologized, but still kept the post up. But then I think later deleted. But the damage is done. Like that's what happens when you act in a reactionary way. You react and then you cause this damage. You burn these bridges, and it's really unhealthy behavior. Nora's so busy writing, she doesn't have time for drama. And it's like Nora Roberts does not need to plagiarize. We're talking about Nora fucking Roberts. Children of Blood and Bone will open in theaters on January 15th over Martin Luther King Jr. weekend. By all accounts, it's a crowd-pleasing, grounded fantasy epic with strong visuals and powerful performances from its star-studded cast. But the success of a first installment is life or death for a potential franchise and determines whether future movies will ever be made. Adeyemi's stamp of approval could have galvanized her Tominators to buy tickets on opening weekend, but it's unclear if her public remarks will hinder their support of the film. It's so sad because she has the platform that basically nobody else has at this point, says one Hollywood insider. Adeyemi has yet to see the completed film based on her first novel, though a source involved with the film says the studio offered to show her the film back in the spring. Her social media posts have focused on promoting her new book, Siren, which comes out September 29th, on my birthday. The novel, which Adeyemi has described as the book of my soul, follows a student. Isn't this the one where she has her face on the cover? Like it's an autobiography. Anyway, follows a student at an Ivy League who, while struggling with her mental health and a dark past, meets a group of girls called the Sirens. In a recent TikTok post, Adeyemi simply states, "See you in September." Perhaps she's turning the page on this saga for good. Ooh, gosh. No, she has not watched the film. She stated publicly that she is refusing to watch the film. Refusing.
Tomi Adeyemi. Tomi Adeyemi. Tomi Adeyemi. How many times have I said your name? Step to the front. Yeah? Come here. My dear. Hey. What was that? What was that? You know what? This is so interesting because I think this is probably one of the first times I've spoken about a topic like more than twice. I usually don't even speak about a topic twice, but obviously I spoke about the whole Children of Blood and Bone casting debacle, and then I spoke about Tomi coming out and saying that she's not supporting the film not too long ago, and then now I'm back, but now again I'm speaking on Tomi, so maybe I'm speaking on a topic twice, so because I'm not really speaking about the casting, I'm speaking about Tomi because what is going on? What is going on?
Yeah.
So she came out and if you aren't up to date on the whole situation, go and check out my video where I speak about her like coming out and saying that she's not supporting the film because she went through a lot of traumatic experiences behind the scenes, and so she's not going to support the film. Now, she made a video a few days ago. And the video was, I wouldn't lie, it was about like 5 minutes, I wouldn't lie to you. And I thought, the minute I saw the video, I said, oh, we're going to get more insight into what exactly happened behind the scenes.
No,
because
we
up
didn't.
to now, it's been just little hints.
And the thing is that given how Tomi operates via the internet and just kind of her tendency to talk about things online, if there had been these instances that she claims were so horrible to her and that she's still being antagonized and all this, she would have spilled that. She would have shared all of that. And that is why with what she has shown, that's what it is. Like the text with Amandla, which now we know has to do with the casting that Tommy supported. And Amandla got shit on. And that, what we just covered that in the Vanity Fair piece, came out and said, well, you know, Tommy had envisioned all different skin colors in this universe. And this is Tommy's vision, and then sent a text to Amandla saying, don't ever speak on my name ever
there was
again.
something going on.
She would not fake post.
She was just leaving cryptic messages, if you will. So when this video came out, I said, okay, cool. Especially because with all of the cryptic messages that she was leaving behind, and even her stating outright that she wasn't supporting the film anymore, she still told us, you know, to go and support the film because she made it for us, you know? Cool. So I'm thinking we're going to get real context as to what happened behind the scenes. Bruh, I don't know what that video was. That video was like just minutes of...
Also, we talk about this all the time. Hollywood does this thing where when a film features a marginalized cast, is telling marginalized stories, is, you know, has a marginalized creative behind the camera, there are extremely high standards. And you basically get one chance. All right. If you are a white man in Hollywood, then you get a lot of chances. You get all of the opportunities. So this is also awful because of that reality. And so if Tommy is playing a part here that could potentially harm this film's success, that is fucking terrible for everyone who's involved. For Gina Prince Blythewood, who is Black, for the producers who are Black, for the talent, some of whom are very established, like Idris Elba and Viola Davis and Cynthia Erivo, but some of whom are still like newer actors. And this is potentially what can create a career for them, can make or break, so to speak. It sets the precedent, makes things way more difficult for any other projects like this moving forward. Yeah, and potentially even if the film, I mean, obviously if the film makes a lot of money, then they'll be like, let's do another one. But if this is something that when they are considering to potentially franchise this series, this is taken into consideration, like, yeah, they'll use this as an excuse. The studios are always looking for an excuse.
Y'all see what I just did? That's what she was doing. Like, and I'm not even saying this to make fun, because she seemed like she was, you know, truly affected by.
No, she will not be involved in the second, but
behind the scenes, and so we have to, you know, actually, you know,
Ms.
show her.
Thank you for the 48 months. Anon, thank you for the gifted.
We still don't know what happened, though. That's the thing. That's the thing. We still don't know what happened. But then she said this is her last time speaking about it. She's like, she doesn't want to speak about it anymore after that video, so we're not going to hear anything past it. Like past this video, at least I would think so, because that's what she said. Now this is why I kind of took issue with it. She didn't say anything new at all. Everything that was said in that video was, I'm pretty sure, said in the comments and posts that she has left or even alluded to. Like, she said nothing new. That something happened backstage. And she wasn't supported, even though people were aware of what happened, you know, people in the production, whatnot. I guess the news information is the fact that there was whatever happened, she left the set hyperventilating and sobbing, and there were a lot of witnesses. So she's just like there were a lot of witnesses, so no one could even turn around and say that, you know, it's not true. So I guess that's like the newest bit of information. That's great. I saw a post and I was just like, you know what? I wish Tommy saw this post before she made that video. Someone was just like, oh, I think it was actually a reply to a post. Someone said, you know what? The only people who should be hearing about this from Tommy is her lawyers and her agent. And I was just like, honestly, yeah. Because if something happened, especially because she's saying we should still go and see the film because she made it for us and she understands what this means and da-da-da-da-da. But then it seems like she is subtly trying to just wreck it. wreck it. Like, because if something happened, take it to your agent, because I don't know what contract you guys signed when, you know, she was negotiating rights and all this and that, but I'm sure they should probably be the one to handle however you were treated or what happened, la da 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 da. If you were abused or mistreated or something happened, again, agent and your lawyer, because if you're going to take something up with them, lawyer, because what are we gonna do? Because our immediate reaction when we first heard, or, you know, when she first started alluding to the fact that, you know, they weren't on good terms anymore, and then when she finally said, oh yeah, I'm not supporting it, our first reactions as fans, you know, as fans of the work, as supporters of Tommy, our first reactions all over was, oh, okay, so we're not seeing this movie. Oh, so we finna stand by. We're like, we don't know what they did, but clearly they did some. That's our first reaction, you know? Because, guys, when it comes to things like this, our power lies in our...
Yeah, I just also feel bad for Amanda Stenberg, because we also talked about all this in our last conversation, but Amanda is constantly being thrown under the bus and is being blamed for issues of the system. And it does appear in this case that the backlash from Amanda's casting is potentially what set off this tension. I mean, we saw the text message between Tommy and Amanda, and there are like previous clips of Tommy speaking really positively about the film and the cast. And then to separate herself from it, it's that's really what people are upset at. I think she probably saw it as, I don't want to be the one who's taking the blame here. I don't want fans. I don't want this backlash to be coming down on me.
Purchasing, you know, our purchase.
People were always going to have a problem with it, and the studio execs and everyone knew this. Yes. Yeah, this was a problem that if you were aware of this film, of this book, of this character, you could have seen coming a mile away.
Power, and we got purchasing power, as much as people don't want to admit it, especially when it comes to the diaspora, you know, the African diaspora all over the world. We got some purchasing power, baby. Let us not show up to that movie. Let us not show up. That movie's gonna flop, and we're never gonna see number 2.
Sucks because Amanda is generally progressive politically as a person too, so she's getting targeted in multiple ways. Yeah. She frequently is a person who uses her platform to challenge social inequities and to get political and advocate for intersectionality. And yeah, I mean, just has had to deal with so much abuse. And unfortunately is a person who now, because she has been cast in roles that have sparked this backlash, she's the one who gets blamed for the casting. And so the position she occupies as a light-skinned Black actress means she deals with racialized abuse because she is Black, and to white conservatives, right? Black is Black, whether you are light-skinned or not. It's all DEI, and especially because Amanda is very outspoken and calls out conservative violence. Casting directors get off scot-free. Casting directors get off. The producers get off. The studio gets off, and everything gets put on Amanda.
Number 3, like that movie's gonna die right there and then. Okay. But then she said, I want you guys to still support the movie. And it left, even like in the last video I made, I told you guys I was so conflicted because she says this, but why would I want to support something that has hurt someone that I'm supporting? You know, it's so that left so many people conflicted, because we want to support you, but this project means a lot, not just for you, but for the wider community.
Yeah, here's what I was referencing. One of the most revealing details in this saga is that Tomi Adeyemi herself originally wanted light-skinned or biracial actresses for Princess Amari. That's who Amanda is playing. In a March 2018 interview with Watchtower magazine, she named Tessa Thompson or Zendaya for Mari, Michael B. Jordan and John Boyega for Tizane, and Idris Elba for King Saran. This is why fans criticize Stenberg's casting on colorism grounds. Amari is described as having dark copper skin, but her complexion is significant because she is noticeably darker than the rest of her light-skinned royal family. Her mother's treatment of her makes that difference part of her story. That makes the film's casting particularly interesting. Amandla Stenberg plays Princess Amari alongside Regina King as Queen Nahanda, Chiwetel Ejiofor as King Saran, and Damson Idris as her brother, Prince Enon. Visually, Stenberg does not obviously create the same darker daughter within a lighter family contrast described in the novel. If anything, Idris appears to provide the strongest complexion contrast within the royal family as currently cast. This does not prove the adaptation has removed Amari's colorism storyline, but it does raise a legitimate question. Has the film dropped or substantially rewritten that dynamic? And it does appear that they flipped it for the movie, but we don't know because we haven't seen it yet. The issue becomes even harder to place solely at Stenberg's feet when Adeyemi had already imagined lighter-skinned actresses for Amari years before Stenberg was cast. A lighter-skinned Amari was clearly not incompatible with Adeyemi's own early vision for the adaptation. Here's where the story becomes genuinely ugly. Sources who spoke said that Adeyemi participated in the casting process, supported Stenberg's involvement from the start, expressed excitement about the decision. She publicly reassured disappointed fans, telling them that if they felt brokenhearted by the casting, they would not feel that way when they were sitting in the theater. Stenberg revealed that Adeyemi had told her in private conversation that Stenberg's experience playing Rue in the Hunger Games and the racist backlash she endured had partially inspired Adeyemi to write the book series. Adeyemi reportedly told Stenberg that she wanted a screen world vibrant with different skin tones. However, that did not stop fans from criticizing Stenberg and accusing her of taking roles from dark-skinned black actresses, a claim she later addressed and rejected on social media. Yeah, and then that is what apparently led to the estrangement between them.
Unity, and I think that's, again, this is what I don't like. You're still being cryptic, but from your actions, your words and your actions, they're not aligning. They're not aligning at all. And guys, it's so funny because I had a similar situation where words and actions were not aligning in my own personal life, and it was actually like distressing my nervous system so much that I was actually having depressive episodes and like anxiety attacks and all that. Because when two things aren't aligned, there's bound to be like a rip because of the chaos. Like, which direction are we meant to head in? Because with everything that you're saying and how you're moving, first behind the scenes, but now out in the open, it's showing that nah, we shouldn't support this movie. But you're saying with your mouth, go and support it. I saw a theory online, and I won't lie, the theory has, it has good bones to it. Someone saying that, listen, she signed her contract and she's collected her money, so whatever happens to the movie doesn't concern her anymore. So if it flops, it flops. And I was just like, you know what?
Which does seem to point to the kind of positioning of Tomi as more interested in fame than interested in being an author, because as the creative who created this world that's being adapted for screen, you would think that that person would care about the project, especially because Tomi was able to negotiate enormous creative control. This is not that she wrote the book and then it was adapted for screen and maybe she got a little credit here. She had enormous creative control, producer control on the project. Maybe she just wants a nest egg to do what she wants, which is really hard for writers and many creatives to come by. I know, but it's one of those where it's like, tell me, you have now burned a lot of bridges and created these, like, there are all these problems around you that I don't know if it feels like an instance of somebody who's their own worst enemy.
Hear it, because if you've collected your coins, like, I don't know if she was gonna collect royalties from the films. I don't know what contract she had, but they were just like, her contract is probably like she just had like a one lump sum and she's collected it, and so now that she's wiped her hands of it, because all that she's gonna get, and now that, you know, they're not in.
You have done any more acting since Lucifer? Maybe a random question, but hopefully you got more parts. I've got a few more credits to my name, but I have not actively been an actor since really before COVID, because COVID pandemic shut down. I was also supposed to have a movie go into production that got shut down. And then in 2024, I decided to start streaming. I decided to pivot. I didn't want to wait around for the industry to open back up. And then the following year, there were major union strikes, which was actually one of the first things I covered on stream. Check me out in Nanny Killer. Yeah. So I don't know if I would say I'm retired. I would say I'm temporarily retired. Who knows? Maybe I go back one day. Maybe I try and return to writing. I don't know. I got other stuff I'm doing now. And frankly, I've probably screwed myself because I just can't stop talking and giving my opinions on the industry and very powerful people in the industry. Eli Roth wants to cast you. Yes, I'm sure Eli Roth cannot wait to cast me in one of his AI slop shits. Once a theater kid, always a theater kid. True. I'm always a theater kid at heart. But as far as professionally pursuing a career in entertainment, no longer am doing that. Casting directors hate to see her coming. Yeah, I am sure I'm probably on a list somewhere. Definitely on an FBI list for sure. I think because I had not really been acting anymore when I started streaming, maybe all of my advocacy and call outs have, who knows? Maybe if I were to return to acting, I have a totally different name. I'm like, who's Carolyn Kwan? I have no idea who that is. My name is Schmereline Schmon. My name is Cutie Cinderella. Speaking of theater kid supremacy, did you see Zoran's giving away thousands of Broadway tickets to high schoolers? Yep. I did.
Good terms. She don't care, and if anything, because they played her, she's going to do whatever she can to like bring it down. It was good theory. I'm not saying that's what's happening, but I was just like, you know, the theory.
Yeah, apparently Ticketmaster had me listed as Elizabeth Kwan on the Fear tour, which is my sister's name, which I think is very funny. And I sent that to her, and I said, I know you're getting busy. I know you're getting ready for your wedding, but I hope you are also getting ready for tour because, baby, you're going on tour.
It has good bones because from what she's saying, but you know, and how she's moving, it's giving, girl, you don't want this movie to go nowhere.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard, and it's even hard for me to accept that theory because I'm just like, girl, you know what this movie means for us, and you have said that yourself.
Yeah.
And so I do not want to believe that theory is true. It has good bones, but I don't want to believe that it's true. So I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to show her grace and say that's not what's going on. That she is moving more so from emotion, because it seems like emotions have been high ever since, especially because like from what she described in terms of like how it affected her and her health, like I'm sure like she is still processing.
You know, what I also just thought about is that this is Paramount, and Paramount, of course, was acquired by the Ellisons, and this project was in the works before Ellisons took over. But just thinking about like everything we've talked about with the Ellisons trying to return things to a boys' town, which it never really stopped being. But the Ellisons are they're bigoted MAGA billionaires, and that will be reflected in their takeover of possibly takeover of another major studio and streamer in the industry. And this is a huge project. This is a $200 million massive fantasy film. So that sucks too, right? Like, this is going to be another excuse. It just fucking sucks to have Tommy be shitting on Children of Blood and Bone for what does not seem to be like legitimate reason, like something terrible that actually happened to her. And now she's potentially going to hurt the success of this film, which just the repercussions of that.
What she has described, you know, we can only take her word for it.
It's the worst time
really
for this to happen.
But taking her word for it, she has been really, really affected. Now, this is another thing that I think a lot of us should consider. And this is another thing that made me upset with the video, because she didn't give us more context. Like, she literally told us nothing.
Yeah, first of all, the studio's being like, this is the last time we give an author creative control. This is the last time that we give a specifically Black author creative control. This is the last time. Oh, sorry, can't do Black films, can't have all Black cast, can't do Black fantasy. Like, it is so hard for Black fantasy authors to break through. It is so hard for Black fantasy films. It is so hard for major budgeted films with an all Black cast that's not Black Panther directed by Ryan Coogler to get greenlit.
About what happened. And we have to consider that we're not hearing the other side to the story. And you know how people always say there are three sides to a story, you know, their side, and the truth. I think it might end up being a situation here, because she said she left the set hyperventilating, crying, and it really affected her health. That's true.
Yeah, and this is Gina Prince Blythewood, who did Woman King, which Woman King, let's see. Woman King grossed almost 100 million against a production budget of 50 million. But it was, I think, expected to they had expected it to do better, so I'm sure they looked at that as a mark against Gina Prince. And now Gina Prince is helming Children of Blood and Bone. So if this does not either if this does not meet expectations, if this is not a moneymaker, then it could possibly be the end of Gina Prince's opportunities.
Now, as someone who...
It does very much feel like a situation that people wish wasn't so public or not handled outside of the Black community, the writing community. Yeah, it's like, Tommy, please stop making these shady videos that then you end up deleting, but it's too late.
Suffers from anxiety, me, myself. I know that there can be certain situations where no one is actually at fault, but it's still a trigger to me. Simply because of, like, obviously past experiences and just what my body finds to be a trigger. It could be the case that whoever she was dealing with or whatever happened behind the scenes, there was no intention to hurt or to abuse, whatever. But how Tommy interpreted it, like, resulted in the hyperventilating, the tears, and, you know, from that, the health issues. This is not to say that we are going to...
Yeah. As I was saying, Tommy is airing out black people's business on the timeline. And from what I've seen, there's definitely a split. We're talking multiple, but also overlapping communities here. We're talking the literary community, the fantasy, specifically fantasy community, Children, Blood and Bone, which was obviously a huge success. The black community. It's yeah, it's just it all feels like an unnecessary mess. Yeah. Game of Thrones got big originally because book fans spread the word, so without book fan support, this could be really bad. Yeah. Yeah. This really sucks. And the people most hesitant about watching this film are other black people. I hate this. Yeah. And people who were like, people are huge fans of the series and how, just how important Children of Blood and Bone is to a lot of, a lot of, a lot of black readers of fantasy and also, black film watchers. Yeah.